Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm sitting here in Newcastle's original Salt Therapy Centre with Shauna Hartley. Good morning, Shauna.
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
I'm well today. I'm week 7 of the corona restrictions. I possibly should be feeling more stressed than what I do, but at the moment I'm feeling very relaxed. Can you tell us a bit about, because I've been hearing about your Salt Therapy Centre for ages, and I've been promising myself to come down. I get a bit of hay fever, and Dana says that I snore a bit, but I don't think that's really true. However, I know that that's one of the things I've been reading about salt therapy. It's really good for people with hay fever and if someone does snore. So can you tell us a bit about the health benefits? Like, why would someone come down and spend time in this amazing salty place? I don't know if you can see, but there's salt all over the floor. There's these beautiful salt lamps. The walls are salt and the ceiling's salt. So we're really salted in, and there's a salt grinder that puts out a fine mist of salt, which we've just turned off at the moment because I didn't want to take away from our wonderful conversation. So Shauna said, so what are the benefits? Why would someone come and spend time here?
Oh, wow. You've just opened up a huge can of worms. Number one, you're feeling so relaxed because salt does that to our bodies. It is a great antagonist for bringing on better health. You know that when you go swimming in the ocean, you get that tingly, clean feeling? Well, this does the same thing except for a dry version. So we're cleaning out our lungs, we're cleaning out our nasal passageways, and we're helping to clean our skin. So that's why when you have the hay fever, it's great to come in. When you breathe this fine salt mist that's in the air, what it does is it's a natural antihistamine. So it's going to widen up your nasal passageways, and it's a natural decongestant. So as you breathe it in, it's going to help thin out the mucus and free up the cilia, those little hairs that line your lungs, to do their job of getting the stuff up and out.
I think a lot of people don't realise that lining our lungs, we do have that very fine layer of cilia or hairs that help to, because mucus can't run onto your lungs. You know when someone has a cold and they start to cough and they think the mucus is running onto their lungs? Mucus can't run onto your lungs because we've all got that reflex there.
Yeah.
But what can happen is if you get a virus, if you've got allergy, if you've got COPD, bronchitis, emphysema, anything like that, what's happening is the lungs are producing mucus, and the only way you can get mucus out of the lungs once you've produced it, you can't reabsorb it. Exactly, and the salt, you're saying the salt thins the mucus out and helps you to get rid of it more effectively.
Yeah. For me, I tell people that the mucus is like the fly tape in the back of your throat and lungs, and that's where all the
old-fashioned fly tape.
Yeah, so when you're breathing in the stuff that your body doesn't like, and right now it's May and there's grasses out, and that's a common hay fever allergy. And so that stuff's actually getting stuck in your lungs, and your body's going, no, I want to get rid of it. And the tissues swell up trying to flush it out, which means your eyes water and you get that runny nose. It's all about getting it out. So my belief is if we can clear our lungs out, that your body can get back to being the natural self-healing state that it was designed to be. And anybody that doesn't believe your body self-heals, well, ask them to break their leg and see how quick they can walk again.
That's exactly right. And I think that's such a really good point, isn't it? That, like, with our lungs are our second largest organ. I got this from you. You reminded me when we were having a chat before. Our skin's our largest organ. Our lungs are our second largest organ. And yet we shallow breathe. We don't breathe correctly. So many people have sleep apnea. Like, the number of people having lung problems, like a large percentage of the population are being diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD. There's a lot more people having lung issues because of pollution. You know, before we even talk about cigarette smoking, there's air pollution, there's, allergy, etc. So really, the salt therapy is an awesome way of just keeping your lungs healthy.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a health condition.
Yes.
To give your lungs a cleanse, so to speak.
It's kind of, I feel like our lungs are a lot like the air filter in your car.
Yeah.
If you've ever looked at a dirty air filter, it is gross. You take that out, you replace it, and suddenly the car runs like new again because it doesn't have all that blockage and
Yeah.
your oxygen can get into your body. And that's what gives us the go, right?
That's a great analogy, isn't it? And if you think about it, like because we talk as naturopaths, we focus a lot on gut health and getting the balance right there and the good balance of good and bad bacteria. And we talk about the gut being a filter and the liver being a filter, but the lungs are just as important a filter, and they play such a huge role. So lung health, so say someone comes in with asthma. I see a lot of kids with asthma, I see a lot of adults with asthma. How would they go? What would be the benefit? Like what, you've had people come in with asthma. Can you tell us about someone you've had in recently that's had asthma and had a really great result? What was their experience?
So my favorite people are the ones that come in and they have that arsenal from their doctors. They've got their preventers and their emergency things. And as they come in for the salt session, first we're going to help clean their lungs. And we're never going to tell them to stop using those. But what they'll find is that they become more potent, because as your lungs become more clear, your medicines are more effective. So you can use them less and less. Eventually they get to the point where they find that those emergencies that they bought this for never happen. And to me, I'm so excited by that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So with children in particular, they come around quickly because they haven't been sick that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of parents, I think, are nervous when they hear their children wheeze, and that first indication of a watchful parent is to go to a doctor. Now, most doctors want to say, you have asthma, here are the steroids that you need. And I don't believe that that is the ultimate answer. Yes, asthma is a very serious life-threatening disease, and it should not be taken lightly. But if you can strengthen your body naturally, doing the things internally that your naturopath helps you with, keeping your lungs clear, I think that's going to do your body more favors than getting it addicted to a steroid at a young age.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. Again, I'm loving our conversation, but I think that's a really, really good point. That because a lot of parents, kids' health is not what it used to be. Kids are getting sicker now more than they used to. Every school's got nut-free, egg-free, whatever free, like allergies and asthma, hay fever, ear infections are so much more of an epidemic than they were when we were all kids, which wasn't that long ago really. But so with all these kids getting sick, like parents, I feel these days have lost a bit of confidence. They some parents think the only avenue is to go to the doctor, but what you're saying, you still have to get your asthma medications and get your asthma managed. But you can be doing wonderful therapies like salt therapy at the same time, reduce your need to take the medication and actually try and resolve the situation rather than just treat the symptoms.
And to work on it. So some kids that I know right now have that asthma and they're unable to come in. And this works for them really well. Their parents are saying, oh my God, please open. And I'm a little too nervous to open. Yeah. So what we've been helping them with is their breathing. So one kid in particular, he goes swimming, and that helps with his asthma because he's practicing using his lungs. And I just wanted to remind that parent, you can do some exercises at home. We teach people how to do different breathing exercises when they come in here because it's great to do in this environment because you're here, you're focused, you're quiet, you got 45 minutes or 30 minutes if you're a kid. But if you practice that breathing at home, as you were saying, the mouth breathing is such a problem.
Such a big problem.
And the shallow breathing. So when you have those exercises with the kids, we made a game for them. So what we did is we blew up some balloons and put a little sand in it to make them heavy. And then we put up a net and we had a game where it was almost like volleyball. So you had to blow it up and then blow it over. And then that person would come back. And if it landed on your court, you lost a point.
That's fantastic. So again, lung exercises to really strengthen the lungs.
I think there's so many things we can do naturally that don't involve medications.
Yeah. And I think it's important for parents to think outside the box and think, what else can I be doing? What else is going to be beneficial? And salt therapy's been around since
medieval times,
and it was originally discovered because of the benefit of helping people with lung health. So it's not a new therapy.
Not at all.
It's been around for a long time. So I think it's just an awesome add-on. I just want to talk with you in a moment about you opening back up. But just before we do that, so say, just very quickly, we were talking about skin conditions before as well. So if kids or anyone has eczema, salt therapy is also beneficial.
Yeah, oh my good. It's clinically proven to help with a range of different skin conditions. So how it works is you would come in less stressed than we are, so like shorts and a t-shirt. It's a very pleasant environment here. It's a pretty stable temperature. So you allow the salt that comes through this halo generator to fall naturally on your skin, and it sterilizes it because no germs can live on salt. It's antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial. Lands on the skin, it helps sterilize it, then pull out the inflammation, but more importantly, it works to help balance the pH levels. And when that happens, your body is so much happier. I know you care about pH levels as a naturopath.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know that salt therapy helps so much with that, but through working with people, we begin that discussion that it's not just one thing that has caused this problem, it's usually a host of different things. And I so enjoy working with you because you're such a great detective and help inspiring others to do that. So when we work with people, we gently ask, have you noticed that your flare-ups come at a certain time of year?
Yeah.
Or after you've eaten something? And if they realize that perhaps dairy might bring it on, that's when our cue is, go see a naturopath like Peter Mullen and let him go through the whole
work from
experience.
The inside. Yeah, because I think that's this is where our therapies complement each other so much, because we're focusing on that internal environment which is reflected through the skin and the skin health, and then and the lungs as well, and then we've got wonderful therapies like salt therapy that really can take everything, those conditions, to another level. Just before Gabrielle's giving us the wind up, we're getting close to the end of our time. And I know we've only touched on a few of the health benefits, so we might come back and do another video later about all the conditions that salt therapy can be really beneficial for. So we're week 7 into restrictions with the coronavirus restrictions or lockdown, and we're going to be opening our doors back up next week.
Yay.
We've decided we're going to open the doors. We're going to encourage patients to come back in. We feel that it's time for us to start to
face to face,
to be open, to start to feel a sense of normalcy again, but more to reassure our patients that we're there and we can help. You're a little bit nervous about opening back up. You were saying you see a lot of compromised people.
So a lot of my clients are at high risk. They're in the older age group. They have, when you have COPD or emphysema, you're in that, higher category 4, I think they call it. And so I am reluctant to allow them in because I think that they're safer at home. And I think for many people, staying at home is still the best option. For other people that, for instance, have the allergies that are so bad right now, and they have to come back to their ventilators, or they're contemplating doing over-the-counter medicines, I say, please don't do that, and I'll try to get them in. But my fear is that my staff are my most important asset at this business, and I don't want to compromise their health. The thing about this virus is that we're not sure who has it and who doesn't. And for me, the real gamble is that you may get it and you may not be affected that much because you've done so much to keep your body healthy and your immune system up high. But you could have it and innocently give it to me. And if I have a compromised immune system, it may be total hell for me. Like people get the flu worse than others, right?
For sure.
But this is a game changer in that it kills people. So that is my hesitation. For me, I try to say, let's do everything we can differently and learn how to keep our health better. I know that we've had conversations that haven't been in person, and that has been really helpful to me because you know so much and you know how to get me on the supplements that I need when I tell you my symptoms. But for me, there's nothing like face-to-face, right? And you look at my skin, you can see my eyes better than you can on a camera.
Absolutely.
So that face-to-face will never be replaceable.
And that's why we are going to open up for anyone that's confident to come in from next week, because I think people need that reassurance. So look, I think moving forward, like week 7 in, I feel there is a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So that's positive at the moment as well. So we'll keep in touch. We'll stay tuned and see how things are progressing, and we definitely have to do some more of this collaboration, because I am feeling absolutely amazing. I think I might just, when we finish talking, have a little rest for a little while. I think I might be. I think Dana's got a heap of jobs lined up for me this afternoon, but I might get you to sign off on something that I shouldn't leave this relaxed state.
Well, I think if you really want to work on your snoring, that you need to come and have a session like once a week.
Okay, well I will book in. I'm sure Dana will be very happy about that. But thank you. It's really lovely talking with you, Shauna.
Always a pleasure chatting with you. You're so knowledgeable, and I think our industries dovetail so naturally, and we both have the same clients that are interested in getting well using natural methods.
You know what? I'll give you a hug right now, but we're only week 7. Maybe I don't know. Maybe week 10.
We'll work on that one. Thanks very much.